Okay, hi everyone. Guten Morgen, guten Tag to the online world. Um, so the discussion would be around the sustainability aspect, and particularly we'll be looking into the sustainable angle of the sustainable data first, and I'll walk you through a few of the use case studies, which is well proven, well utilized on a global basis, and same can be utilized to combat a lot of issues. Say, for example, child safety, particularly looking into the data set of the cyber understanding. And most of the folks have very limited understanding of what cyber law is all about. So I'll walk you through that data set, putting myself on mute, and we'll start in a while. If you have any questions, put your questions in the comment box below and we'll look into it. Okay, we are going to look into. So when we talk about cyber itself can be utilized and can be talked about or can be deployed in multiple ways as far as the modules and submodules are concerned. So there is a particular term called as cyber physical. So we will talk about the IoT understanding of Internet of Things in terms of devices, apparatus, public leisure, private leisure, the candidates who should be scrutinized on a weekly basis, or I would rather say bi-weekly basis, and particularly that sector is the banking sector. We all know about it. So we will start with the tagging part first of all, and then we'll look into the other aspects. So the word of the day is cyber physical. Okay, for understanding the relationship models, particularly from the standpoint of the tagging part, there's a lot of emphasis right now on prompt engineering. So prompt engineering itself is something which most of the folks who were working in the cyber world had been doing for almost, 100 years plus. It's just that it's a new word to illustrate the same objective. So first of all, we'll talk about the kind of modules which can be utilized for determining the relationship between entities. Entities can be at least in one. Of course, it has to be at least one and the like, one or more and the like. So that is G06F16/288. So that is entity relationship models. We are replacing the word model with the word module. Next is the flow of data. What is flow of data? To understand the flow of data in a network, let's talk about and understand the understanding of ETL. ETL is extracting, transforming, and loading. For example, ETL data flows for data warehouses. And this particular understanding of what we are discussing is for the serverless understanding of the part of the protocols, because at one end of the spectrum, it has been discussed that we need data warehouses, and it has caused a lot of destruction in terms of the ailment with the nature. And because of that, all these data warehouses need a lot of electricity. They need a lot of electricity, they need a lot of water, and that kind of I would say the word understanding is the right word, but the right phrase would be how to go serverless. How to be serverless, how to understand the cloud computing part in the best possible way. That is where the business lies, because that accounts for the accountability of sustainability itself. So this tagging of ETL, that is extract, transform, and loading the procedures, that is under G06F16/254. So even the databases itself can be multiples. One such database is, or in the data warehouse, we like to utilize the term MOLAP or rollup. MOLAP is particularly MOLAP, and rollup is, that is 5-letter word, MOLAP lap, rollup ROLAP. That is multi-dimensional database. Before we move further, let's understand one thing very clearly. A lot of businesses are trying to orchestrate businesses by blocking trade name. Let me tell you, that is not going to solve any problem. If somebody has a trade name and doesn't have the execution power to understand how the trade name has to even work at the first instance, all these trademarks, registered trademarks, unregistered trademarks, or whatever way the trademarks have been utilized over the years, the value has to be zero. Because when we are talking about 5G, 6G, 8G, 25G, and all the generative technologies, and particularly with the deployment of IoT, that is Internet of Things, it is very, very important to understand the crux of it. So the multi-dimensional database is G06F16/283. Next we have database management systems. How these database can be managed at the first place. I personally is of the opinion to have this peer-to-peer node understanding in terms of intranet rather than internet. So we have to go back to intranet to orchestrate this aspect in a way which is very again, I don't have the right word with me because I give words and I see folks filing trademark applications around it, which is to my mind, who has been in the protocol industry of almost 2+ decades, I think it's an infringement. But when there's infringement, we can always get into the DAO, do smart contracts, which is one of the best ways to even obviate arbitration, mediations, negotiations. So don't have to go into, negotiation, mediation, arbitration, or the disputes. Understand smart contracts. Smart contracts is the best way to obviate anything and everything when there is a regulation around the same. And the regulation itself has to be regulated with the DAOs. There are zillion DAOs in the world right now working towards achieving, or I would rather say the new world order is already achieved. It's just that acceptance has to be there, because in the new world order, there is no country. It is just one nation, and one nation itself is one of, I would say, it has a lot of power, and with the power comes great responsibilities. Okay, next we have, what is the requirement analysis or the understanding of the techniques? So to understand the requirements, you would see when we are talking about the cyber world, there is a lot of emphasis on the requirements. What are the requirements? That's how, tailor-made services are provided. So what is tailor-made services? Tailor-made services are the services which is end-to-end, and it takes care of onboarding, commissioning, execution, till the stop. That is, there's a start and the stop in the spectrum. So that requirement comes under the tagging part of 6.GF8/10. So we discussed this. Now when we are making it object oriented, now the term here, object orientation. Personally, I'm not a very big fan of objects, because when you put objects in the augmented reality or virtual reality, it can be mischievous also. So what needs to be done is have a better nomenclature for this, which is object oriented. I would rather say module oriented. Modules, submodules, I think that plays the part very well. That is G06F8/24. Next, source code. Oh my gosh, be proprietary. Never disclose your source codes. Never file a copyright for that. Even if you're filing a copyright for your source code, just give a little bit of it, because at the back end, there are people who are going to copy you. That's what, things have been, and that's what there's so many cases around the world, just to, people think they are giving the source code, but that was not even a source code, and they're trying to claim and reclaim something which never existed. So there's a lot of IP filing. When I talk about, this is not internet protocol, I'm talking about intellectual property. There's a lot of IP filing, which is filing to just file. Just, everybody wants to be inventor. And let me tell you, doing inventions, creating use case studies, and zillion things are involved. And it's not everybody's cup of tea or coffee or soup or food, because running a business itself takes a lot. Okay, let's come back to this. Machine learning, we already discussed, G06N20/00. There is something called as Ensemble learning, that is G06N20/20. Look into that. We have branching out, which is dynamic in nature, that is G06N5/01. So, okay, something we need to look into is understanding the why of why. And to understand the why of why, we will get into greenhouse management system, that is GHG, which is why not 2P90/84. Then we have network protocol supporting network applications, including the control of end device applications over a network. Again, communication network itself can be driven by the I2 network. So that is something which is very important when we're discussing the 6G applications. That is why not 4S40/18. Another one which I'll just sum up is implementation of internet protocol, that is adaptation of the internet protocol for transmission control protocol. Transmission control protocol is TCP, and we have UDP, that is user datagram protocol. Is so important. That is H.4L6916. Probably I'll dive deep into this maybe in a while or so. So let's just Okay, let's just understand this processing data understanding from the viewpoint of understanding the same. Give me a moment. I think we don't have any questions today. Good. That's a good day. Where's there's a question? I don't think so.
एक बार ऑन चेक करना पड़ेगा उसको बोलो ऑन करेगा
Okay, let's look into, we always talk about enterprise. What about extra price? So let's look into this word extra price. Then we have multi-structural data, which is structured, time series, unstructured. It can be relational. Relational itself, when relational itself has a time series, it makes more sense. I will get into this API call in a while. I think it needs a little bit more attention in terms of understanding it. In terms of, okay, another term, just to sum it up. I will give you that term and then let's focus on it and create something. Declarative. Okay. We are getting onto the understanding of declarative mapping. This is something I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, yes, you know where to ping, and me or somebody from the enterprise is going to respond. Have a great week ahead. A lot of data sets has been analyzed. A lot of work is being done at any given point of time, and congratulations to the team. They're doing a fabulous job in terms of execution of the data sets and understanding the data sets with the real intention of providing that security to all the three age groups, that is child, adult and senior. And what is important here is to create the data set in a manner. The best way is to have a digital copy of the stuff, because then for the DAO to work properly, the digital copy itself is enough. Now digital copy can be, it can be forged also, but I'm talking about the real digital copy with the historical data set. You will be able to understand and mitigate the risk in real time. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.